It's been a while since I've done a brisket, and that changes today because I'm going to be doing a 17-pound USDA prime brisket out on a new grill. All right, we'll talk about that new grill in a little bit once we get out there, but first, I'm gonna go ahead and trim this up. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm not an expert at trimming briskets. If you really wanna see people who know how to trim a brisket perfectly, go over to James at Aim 'em and Claim 'em Smokers, his YouTube channel, or Joe at Smokin' Joe's Pit Barbecue. They do a lot of briskets. I'll put links to their channels down in the video description. Check them out. They know exactly what they're doing. I can do okay, but I always get comments on, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that. It all tastes good in the end. All right, so here's our fat cap side, and as we can see, we've got quite a bit of excess here. You wanna get it down to about 1/4 inch in most of the places here. And I dried this brisket off after removing it from the cryovac pack. But I didn't want to get it too dry because I don't like to use a binder if I don't have to, and I think there's going to be enough moisture on this to hold the rub we're going to put on. And I'm just using this small fillet knife. I like to use this when I'm, removing fat from pork butts or briskets or things like that. Yeah, I know I'm exposing a little piece over here, but that's all right on the point side. A little bit hard. I'm trying to keep this to the side so you can see it. All right, let's turn this guy over, see what we got on the other side. Not too bad. Most of the silver skin's already gone. We got a pretty good sized hunk of fat right here. And we're gonna be doing this fat side down today. That's just my preference usually when I'm doing something like a big brisket or pork butt. And you know what? I'd rather underdo it than overdo it, so that's good with me. Let's go ahead and get our rub on. Now for the rub today, I'm going tried and true. I'm using Texas Best Brisket Rub from Heaven Made Products. I'm gonna get a good coating here. Yeah, and we've got plenty of moisture here to help hold this rub in. See if we can get this big boy over one-handed here. Get back over to our meat side. Make sure we got a good coating here. Work around, get the edges. Now, normally I'd like to rub this and put it in the refrigerator overnight, but got thrown a curveball. It's supposed to be really windy tomorrow, and I'm really just not gonna have the grills or smokers going in that much wind, so had to do it today. So this is not gonna get an overnight rest in the rub. It's gonna get about a 20-minute rest in the rub, but I've done briskets like that before. It's gonna taste great. It's just, if you can give it a little more time, that flavor's gonna get in there a little more. All right, that's looking good. Let's get this out to the grill. All right, here we are at the new grill. This is the Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi 24. Now I'm gonna talk more about the grill as a grill and do reviews on it in this video and in upcoming videos. But first, I wanna get this brisket on. Just wanna move our temperature probe out. Go ahead and get my temperature probe in here. All right, that's looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and close the lid, and then I'll talk a little bit about the grill. So first thing you should know is Camp Chef sent me this for review, so I got this for free. So as I mentioned, over time I'll be doing different parts of this in reviews. Every pellet grill does very similar things. Some do slightly different things. There are some things I'm very impressed with so far in this. This is the first cook I've done on it because I thought, let's go with the big boy. Let's do brisket first and see how it does. but I've run it probably 5 or 6 times doing temperature tests, other things. I've used the temperature probes in comparison with my ThermoWorks smoke temperature probes to see how close the probes are on this. Spoiler alert, they're right on, they're within 5 degrees. So in upcoming videos, I'll talk about different parts of this. Now really quickly, there are 2 things on this which I think could be improved. They're kind of small, and this is what I've noticed right away. The first one may sound silly, but it's actually not when you have what's called the sidekick attachment on this. The cover that you get with this if you buy it, or if you purchase a commercial one, which is to the same specifications, is a very tight fit when you have the sidekick attachment. I think if you have the sear box attachment or just the shelf, it fits fine. But with that sidekick, which is larger, it's a really tight fit. You can get it on, but I think if Camp Chef made the cover just a bit bigger, it would be perfect. Second is, at least as far as I can tell, on the Woodwind series that's out there now, this is the only one without 4 wheels. It has 2 solid legs and 2 wheels. The others all seem to have 4 casters or wheels. Is that a downside? I don't know. It might be more stable without the wheels on the one side, but I'd like to see 4 wheels if it could work out. It would move a little easier, I think. It does move pretty easily. There's no big deal with that. Now, before I show you the first part of this Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi 24, which is sort of the Wi-Fi controller aspect of it, let me just cover the brisket we're doing today. We're gonna take it to the stall range, somewhere about 160 degrees internal. Then we are gonna wrap it because we are gonna need to move it along today. I ended up getting a little bit later start because I had to call that audible and decide to do it today. Ultimately, it's going to go to a temperature of somewhere around 200 degrees until it's probe tender. Then we're going to let it rest for an hour, wrapped in foil, in towels, in a cooler. So now the first thing I want to show you is this Wi-Fi Bluetooth controller on the Woodwind. So this is the Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi controller. It does both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. You can connect it easily to your home network, pairs it with Bluetooth just like any other device. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead on my smartphone, my iPhone here, I'm going to go ahead and just change the temperature and the smoke setting. So you'll see that I'm going to up the temperature to 275, and I'm going to change the smoke setting because you can adjust smoke settings on this. I'm going to change it up to 5, just so we can see that. So I just changed the temperature setting, and if you look at the set temperature thing below the readout, it'll say 275 set temp. So I just changed that. And we're going to change that smoke setting up to 5. And so there you go. We just changed the temperature to 275 and 5 smoke. Now I'm going to go ahead and dial it back down to 250. And our set temp changes back to 250. Now you can do all these same things with the little dial right there on the side of the controller. As you can see, there are 4 probe ports, so you can put up to 4 temperature probes in there. That's for meat. There is a built-in ambient temperature probe. So right now you can see our meat temperature probe is showing below 40 degrees, 37, 39, somewhere in there. So we are set to go. You'll see that the temperature will go up and down. That's like any smoker. It's going to go in a range. And the higher smoke setting you have, the more it's going to fluctuate. In the testing I did, I would get about 15 to 20 degree fluctuations when I had about a 7 smoke set. It goes from 1 up to 9, I believe, maybe 10. But that's not bad. That's pretty normal for a fluctuation in a smoker. So we are set. We're going to come back in about 2 hours and check this. We'll probably spritz it at that point if we need to. Right now, we're looking good. All right, this brisket's been going for 2 hours on the Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi. Let's have a look. Looking good. Just want to see how our surface feels. It's a fairly dry surface right now. I'm going to go ahead and spritz this with a mixture of apple cider vinegar and water. It's 2 parts water to 1 part apple cider vinegar. Just want to keep a little moisture on the surface here. I'm not running any water pans in here. For this first cook, I just wanted to try it without a lot of extra stuff. And I don't think I mentioned that I'm using oak pellets today. So let's go ahead and close this up and keep cooking. So you can see our grill temperature is recovering quickly, and our brisket temperature is right around the 90 degree range. So we're doing good. We're gonna keep watching it. We're shooting for that 160 or when it hits the stall before we wrap it. So if we don't hit that in the next 2 hours, we'll come out in 2 hours and check it. So I'll see you back here in just a little bit. All right, we've been going for 4 hours now with this brisket, If you'll notice the timer on the controller there, it says 4 hours and 57 minutes. I had the smoker running for about an hour beforehand just to get the temp stabilized, to check it. Honestly, it stabilized within 20 minutes. I just wanted to run one more check before I got this brisket on. So let's go ahead and see how we're doing. Looking good, getting some nice color there. Yeah, that bark there is starting to set. Still a little moisture down here. Want to go ahead and give it another spritz up here. We're still a good 20 degrees away from when I want to wrap this. All right, let's go ahead and get this closed up. Keep watching it. Once we get in that 160 range, we're going to wrap it, or if it hits the stall before that. So we've been hovering around 155 for 20 minutes. We're 5.5 hours into this. Let's take a look, but I think it's time to wrap this. He's looking good. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this now. So let's go ahead and remove our temperature probe temporarily. I just want to add some moisture in here. We're gonna wrap it up tight. I like to get it so it's actually hugging the brisket, really not trying to develop any space for steam. We just want to retain the heat as it builds up. And if you're wondering why I went with foil today instead of butcher paper, it's a pretty big brisket, new cooker. I didn't want this to take a super long time, and my experience shows that butcher paper does take a little bit longer. You do hold the bark together better, that's what I've found, but this will be great. Point's still here at this end. We're going to orient it the same way and try and get the probe in about the same spot. We're going to let this go until we get in that 195 range, and then we'll start probing for tenderness. May let it go a little bit beyond that to 200. We'll see. So you can see we're showing an internal temperature of 149, so I'm not exactly in that spot where we had that 155, but that's fine. I'd rather see a lower temperature so we can go off that. We want to get it up to that 195 range. But right now, I'm going to make a change in the smoke setting. I'm going to take the smoke setting down to the lowest it is, 1, because we don't need any smoke now that we're wrapped. And I'm going to change my temperature setting up to 275. So you can see on the controller there that registered the change. The app does work, I like it. So I'll see you back here when we're getting close to that 195 range to check this for tenderness. All right, we have hit 199 internal after about 8 hours and 15 minutes total cook time on here. So let's do a tenderness check and see if we're ready to just let this rest. Just gonna use the thermopin here to probe. I'm gonna really only try and go 3 or 4 places. I don't want to ventilate this thing totally in case it needs to stay on longer. So let's just see, we gotta get through the foil first. That is tender. Okay, that's the point. Let's check our flap. Yep. Yep. We are tender. All right, I'm gonna get this off. It's gonna go inside. I'm gonna cover it with a little more foil, some towels and a cooler, let it rest, and I'll see you in about an hour when we cut into it. All right, a little over 8 hours of cook time, another hour of resting, and here is that 17-pound USDA prime brisket. I think the Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi 24 did a good job. I'm still learning pellet grills, and one thing I can tell you here is I think I put too much moisture on it. I spritzed it too much. We do have some bark set, but there's some really soft areas. You can see some that's peeled away. So that's a learning curve there. A lot of people say that pellet grills dry stuff out, and my surface actually has a lot of moisture on it. So we'll see. Next time, try it a little different. But let's see. First, what I want to do, a lot of people will just cut straight into this and work their way up to the point, but I actually like to separate them. So I'm gonna go ahead and separate the flat from the point here. Now, if you like to do it the other way, just have them together, that's fine. I like to do it this way. Oh, nice, juicy point. We can already see that. And this is still a very hot brisket, and we are definitely going to have a juice-a-lanch. First thing, I am going to cut into this flat. I'm just going to go straight across the middle here. Let me move this just slightly over here so we can open it up. Ah, there we go. We got a nice little smoke ring. Nothing super pronounced. You're not going to get this type of smoke ring you're going to get in the offset smoker. And remember, smoke ring isn't necessarily just from smoke. It's about combustion gases. That's why you can get it in a plain charcoal grill. But okay. This did not get dried out. I hope you can see that. All right, I'm gonna move this 1/2 of the flat there, and let's cut a slice. That's looking good. Let's see how we did in the tenderness department here. Pretty bendy. Now, let's do a quick little pull test here. Coming apart nicely. I think I would like it a little more tender. I think if I went maybe another 5 degrees or so on there, it would have been good. I'm gonna take a quick taste right here before we cut into the point. Let's see. Well, that's good. Super juicy. That Texas Best brisket rub on the outside from Heaven Made Products always does a good job. That is good. The main thing I was worried about with this was dryness, and it's not dry. You can just see all that juice in there, all that moisture. Let's cut another slice. That is looking good there. All right, let's move on to the point. All right, point, grain runs a different way, so we've turned it, and I'm just gonna go straight down here and then cut some pieces. And man, this is still hot, even after an hour. Oh yeah. Move this out of the way here. Yeah, my board is a complete juice-a-lanch mess. I hope you can see that. Oh, but look at this right here. Super tender. All right, I'm gonna go ahead, cut some of this up, get it on a little plate, wipe my board down because it's time to taste. All right, I already had that little cheater taste of the flat. I know it's pitmaster privilege, as people call it, but I like to kind of wait till the end, but I couldn't wait there. So here we go, piece of the flat, let's see. Really good flavor. It actually bites really well. Like I said, maybe another 5 degrees there just to take it a little more tender, but it probed really tender when I tested it out there and I didn't want to overdo it. And as you can see, plenty of juice, plenty of moisture in there, that fat rendered, which is really the most important thing that I was shooting for. I really would have liked a better bark on the outside, but that's on me. I put too much moisture on the outside. I should have just let it set further and then not worried as much. But if I had to trade less bark for more moisture inside, that's what I would trade. I think next time I can probably get both, but that flat is tasty. Time for the point. We do have a little bit of bark on this piece of the point here, and that end, which is the larger, sort of fattier end, was sort of aimed at the corner. Now I'm thinking it might have actually gotten a little bit more heat coming up over that foil covered deflector plate that was down there, the drip tray. I covered that with foil like a lot of people do just to make cleanup easier. It is ventilated, it has holes in the bottom so that if you want to do direct grilling with this grill, which you can do, that's what it's for, but I wasn't going to use it for that in this, so I wanted to clean up to be easier. So I think I might have directed the heat to one of those corners where the corner of the point was, and I think we had a little more bark, so let's see. Fall apart tender. Actually does have a nice little bit of bark there. Very happy with the point. I'm actually about 20% happier with the point than the flat, but I wouldn't turn either one of them away. They're going to be eaten. So that was my first cook on a pellet grill on the Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi 24. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see me cook on that pellet grill next, drop it in the comments below, and let's see what I'm going to cook next out there.